Welcome to Flower of Life podcast. This is Carmen Fernandez, and my guest today is John Katsavos. John is a certified personal trainer in Toronto, Canada. He is the owner of BioFitness, an online personal training platform, and he is also a host of the podcast, The Fitness Oracle. Both are designed to get the best out of people's lives through exercise and food. Welcome, John, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
How did you decide to start your own personal training business and the podcast?
For the personal training, I've been in personal training for, now it'd be 28 years. So I started working out when I was 16 years old. So I've always loved, I always loved the gym setting, and I've always loved working out. So when I hit 30, I had 32. I was 32 and and I was like, what? I was just thinking to myself, I was working in a loading dock, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like what I'm doing. I love I love working out in the gym. So I thought, why not do my passion, do what I love to do and get paid for it. So I started, put myself through the certification process, and I got a job at a big box gym here in Toronto. That did not last too long because I didn't know how to sell. I couldn't sell an ice pick to an Eskimo. So yeah, that part of personal training I didn't like, but I loved working with people and seeing other people get the results, and they eventually changed their lives because of my guidance. So.
That's a great feeling when you help people to achieve their goals, right?
Yeah, it's
make
amazing.
Their lives better.
Yeah, and the Fitness Oracle, I have always been told that I need to start a podcast. I've had no idea what to do, what to say. And what was it? A couple weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I just said, you know what, screw it, just do it.
I know that you are into martial arts. Tell us a little bit about martial arts, because I think that many people think of martial arts as kind of a violent activity, but there is more than fighting, right? Tell us more about martial arts and how martial arts has made an impact in your life.
Martial arts, actually, I've been in martial arts longer than I've been in personal training. I've been in martial arts since I was 8 years old. And wow. Yes, martial arts is a violent sport. I mean, to say that it's not, it's completely and utterly false. It's a violent sport. There's no other sport where you go into a ring or an octagon and one person or both people come out bloody. Period. It's a violent sport. But something strange happens to people, especially men. I can't speak to women because I don't know what happens to women, but I know for men, there comes this camaraderie between the two participants, a common respect for the strength and the power of the other person. Again, if you look at any other sport anywhere in the world, martial arts, there's two guys or two girls that go in, beat the crap out of each other, and they're hugging each other and giving each other credit for it, for what they did. There's something special and something magical that happens inside that ring that a lot of people on the outside don't understand. I understand it because I did do tournaments when I was in my youth, but I had other, I would sit back, I would analyze stuff, and I'm like, I'm not going to be a prize fighter for anybody. If I'm going to be a prize fighter, if I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight for myself and I'm going to fight for my family, but I will not fight for the benefit of somebody else. That's why I did not continue with tournaments. And for the people that do, I mean, good on them. I have utter respect and admiration for them. Some of the people that I actually look up to, like George St. Pierre, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. These guys are all great fighters. Even Conor McGregor. I have great respect for these people. I mean, they do something that I will not ever do in my life. And plus, I'm a lot older than they are, so I kind of, I won't last.
What is the martial art that you practice?
It's called systema. It's Russian martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way somebody actually said what systema is like Wing Chun combined with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in a forest setting.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn everything. You learn stand up, you learn the ground, and you learn like basic survival skills. So it's for me, it's just a well-rounded martial art. And I'm not the type of, like, again, like I don't like to say that one martial art is better than the other. I think they're all good. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's all based off of the practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it has to fall in line with whatever your esoteric aspect is, like or uh, your belief system is. Like me, I'm Greek, so I
Mm-hmm.
have Greek Orthodox, Eastern Orthodoxy background. And for me to get, when I was in karate, I was like, okay, this doesn't really, like, the Taoism is cool and everything, like the Zen and everything, the meditation is great and everything, but I just could not understand it. It never clicked to me because it's not how I was brought up. But when I was introduced to Systema, and it's based off of their esoteric aspect is based off of Eastern Orthodoxy, I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Mm-hmm. What is it that you get it?
The spiritual aspect of martial arts, and every single martial art has it.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Let's see. It's a big topic to elaborate. So every single martial art has to have is based off of, the best way for me to explain it is the yin and yang for most people to understand, or the lightness and the darkness. So because the actions that we do is so dark, that we need to understand the light behind it, so it gives us a certain specific balance in life. And it, like, in karate, they teach you basically how to break cinder blocks with your fists and your feet, right? Can you imagine what that would do to the human body?
Yeah.
So now they needed to introduce a specific teaching in order to make the practitioner understand why not to do that. Systema is the same way. We teach people, when you finish a move or you finish a movement, you finish the movement. Like if somebody comes at me, if somebody comes at you with a knife, you disarm the person, you disarm the assailant, and you, quote unquote, give the knife back to them with the same end that they gave it to you. But the Christian aspect of it, those who live by the sword shall die by the sword, that will come into our heads and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'll just give him a good punch to the base of the skull, just to daze him a little bit, and not really, really, really hurt him too much, and wait for the authorities to come and do what the authorities need to do. Right? Or if one of my favorite sayings, my teacher used to say, if you can give the person what the person is asking, give it. If not, then we have a different conversation.
And how martial arts made an impact on your mindset?
It saved my life, actually. When I was in my mid-20s, I had a really bad time. I really found out what Some friends really are. And I wasn't ready for that. And I had lost my job. Um, I dropped out of university because I couldn't afford it because I was paying my way through university. I found out that my girlfriend at that time, who was living in a different city, was cheating on me. And yeah, I wasn't in a good headspace. Like I had locked myself in my bedroom for a year, and that's never a good thing. So the people that, this whole COVID thing has affected, and they say that they're going through mental issues for 3 months now. I completely and utterly understand. I mean, I've been there for a year, so I totally get it. Um, I was pretty much borderline suicidal. I had thought about jumping off a bridge. I'd gotten a job as an armed guard after. And I remember having a thought in the truck on the way back to the shop. And the thought was, my messenger, the crew chief, wasn't fast enough to stop me from pulling my gun and pulling the trigger in my mouth. It wasn't fast enough. So that was the bottom. That was the end. For me, that was the end. And I'm like, okay, something has to change. These thoughts are not good. I'm not out of it. I thought a job would help, but it didn't. So I started up with Systema. And that literally just the amount of punches, the kicks, the almost being knocked out from chokes. I had a 200-pound guy land on my head, gave me a moderate to high concussion. But it saved me. Like that was the negative part of it. The positive part of it was my teacher. My teacher basically, without saying a word, through his punches, through his kicks, through me getting almost choked out, for me having a 200-pound guy dropped on my head, basically taught me, you know what, you still have some value. You have a lot of value, and your feedback and your body understands what it needs to do to survive. So you just need to listen and just breathe and move, and that's it. And through that, like, I mean, it was mind altering. It was a mind altering experience. I absolutely loved it.
You learn how to value yourself and listen to your body.
Yes.
So that's really interesting. And what about fear? Did you learn something on fear? I remember we had a conversation before, and you said something about it. And I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Sure. Again, in Systema, we say fear is the greatest teacher you're ever going to have. Fear will never lie to you. Will always give you the truth. Now, whether you're able to accept it or not, that's on you. But it will never lie. So we need fear in our lives, because without it, nothing's going to happen. We're going to end up staying exactly where we are, and we're not going to we won't be allowed to grow as a person and influence the people around us. So when we see fear, we have to understand what it's doing to us. Usually, the first and foremost thing that we have control over is our breathing. Because fear, you see something, you're like, right? You freeze up and you inhale really hard, right? So you're like, oh my God. But which is fine. It's a normal human reaction. And we have to understand that. And we have to accept that. So when we do that, we have to, okay, what's first? My breathing. So I start breathing. Right? Start breathing. I start relaxing my shoulders. I start relaxing my head. Okay. What happened? I just start to analyze real quickly what happened in my head. Okay, this happened. So I froze and my shoulders got tight. I stopped breathing. So basically you just start to understand what it's doing to you. You accept what happened, and you make the adjustments as you move along. And this whole misconception that I'm here to conquer fear is all bullshit and nonsense. You don't ever want to conquer it. You want to understand it. You want it to become a friend, because it could either save your life, or um, it could propel you to greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually enjoy fear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little weird that way, but
Yes, not everybody likes fear.
but fear is my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and fear is a very close friend of mine. And like I had like one teacher told me in systema, he never lies. Fear will never lie to me. He'll
Mm.
always tell me when I've done something wrong. Always tell me when I've done something right.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I know that you value health very much. You value your health, and what how exercise and healthy eating make a difference in your life?
Well, there's been so many studies from so many like high-end universities that say that, healthy eating and healthy lifestyle can actually, benefit mental health for this and that reason. I mean, when you exercise, you release endorphins in your brain that actually trigger the act like act like a drug,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like doing drugs. And I think one person, Paul Chek, actually came out and said that exercise is the drug of choice,
The
because
drug
it
of
has,
choice.
yeah, it's the drug of choice because it doesn't have any the side effects is a better body.
That's a good side effect.
So that's another really good benefit of it. I mean, every time that you look in the mirror, you start
Mm-hmm.
to see like minuscule changes in the way you look, and that
Mm-hmm.
has a positive effect in, how you perceive yourself, and how you perceive yourself eventually will see how you perceive the world, and how the world will perceive you as well. So I mean, if you start to I'd like to do this test with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
I give them like a bag of sugar, and I put them like put the bag of sugar on their body. And I
Mm-hmm.
do a muscle test. And the muscle test is I have them put their arm out, and then I test the integrity of the arm when it's out. So I just push straight down.
Mm-hmm.
If it's weak, that means the food is no good.
Mm-hmm.
If the arm is strong, then it's good for you. So with the sugar, obviously, it goes straight down. Like there's no question about it. But
Yes.
then I give them something like an apple or an orange, and it's like rock solid. So
Mm-hmm.
the if we want to get a little crazy with this one, the energy of the food actually affects us at our energy levels. So if it's completely processed and completely dead, then it will make us weaker.
Mm-hmm.
But if the food is alive, it will make us stronger.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And exercise, well, like I said, like there's so many different like chemicals and processes that go on in the brain that actually have a positive effect on, one, the way we look, two, the way we move. We have less pain. And if done properly, if you do exercise properly, it actually limits the amount of inflammation in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to like worry about, your joints hurting or this hurting or that hurting. But you have to be very careful when you're doing, excuse me, when you're doing the exercise, because I mean, if you do it wrong, you're going to the hospital.
That's not good. No. You're a very busy man. I know you from the Business Accelerator course and the podcast course, and you're always ahead. You get everything done. The first one that gets everything done, and not only quantity, but also you produce very quality work. How did you get so many things done? How did you motivate yourself to do what you need to do?
One task at a time.
That's good.
um, Even before the business accelerator, I was planning out my day.
Mm-hmm.
Like every morning I would write up what I need to do, how I need to get about doing it. Then I would put it in my calendar. My calendar and me and my to-do list, we're all good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can't remember where I saw this. It might have been a TED Talk or maybe something I saw on London Real. But I have rewards at the end of the day for me to when I accomplish everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a giant reward at the end of the year for myself. The giant reward for myself at the end of the year is for me to be able to book 1 to 2 vacations anywhere in the world.
Oh, nice.
So that's what keeps me motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Another big thing that keeps me motivated is, especially with a podcast, what I'm finding is a lot of people are starting to connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
And because and there's a lot of people that are coming out of the woodworks and trying to get their message across so we can help all these people. And that's another big motivation thing for me. But when it comes to like motivation, we have to have something tangible.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a vacation, just like I had a vacation planned for Colombia, Bolivia, and Peru this
Oh.
year, but COVID
Mm-hmm.
had other answers for me.
Mm-hmm.
So so for me, my motivation for me to do everything now, get everything started and get everything where I need it to be, my reward to myself will be that trip next year.
Oh, nice. What advice would you give to people who want to do exercise, but they don't have the motivation? How can they motivate themselves?
Get in your car and start driving to the gym. It's that easy. The second you're at the gym, do not work out at home. I know I do a lot of virtual training
Mm-hmm.
from home. And a big part of that is trying to transition people to get them motivated even at their home. Because if you have an appointment with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a responsible person, you're going to keep that appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're not going to stiff out somebody because you know what, you're paying somebody for them to be there, even if they can't be there physically, and you can see them through their phone. There's still an interaction there. But
Mm-hmm.
I know most places in the world the gyms are closed and you can't get to the gym. But the motivation for working out is really, really, really hard
Mm-hmm.
because you don't see the results right away. Like I had a client, she was 235 pounds when she first started with me. And in a year, she dropped 100 pounds.
Wow.
She didn't see anything. She still
Mm-hmm.
saw herself as 235 pounds. Even though every month the inches kept going lower, 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 she
Mm-hmm.
still saw herself as the big girl.
Mm-hmm. It's
But when
something in her identity.
yes,
Yeah,
it was in her head that she was always big. But when
Mm-hmm.
my manager saw her a year later, that's
Mm-hmm.
when everything flipped.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everything got triggered for her that she's no longer the big girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like watching grass grow, watching your body change. Like you're not going to see it because you see your body every day. You're not going to see the inches go down. You're not going to see the muscle come on. You're not going to see the fat go down. You're not going to see it. So staying motivated is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
To stay motivated for me, what I do is I always train with a friend. So when I feel like I don't want to go to the gym, my friend will always call me and say, get your ass outside. I'm waiting for you. So I have no excuse. So To stay motivated, either hire a trainer, join a group, join a class, and don't let your teammates down. That's it. That's the easiest form of motivation that I can come up with for people.
What are your thoughts about spirituality?
SPD.
Quality.
Quality. I don't know what SPD is.
Spirituality? No.
I don't know.
You don't know. What is happening in the world right now? What are your thoughts about it?
Huh. Loaded question. Very loaded question. I think we're going into a shift. I think this shift is going to be a good one. But we have to tread very, very carefully. Because if we don't, we're going to end up somewhere where it's going to be very scary. I want to say a lot about this, but I want to focus more on the training because that's positive. And yeah, this world we're living in very tricky times. Very tricky. And I guess what I could say to people is don't keep to yourself, but try to understand where other people are coming from. Don't jump to conclusions based off of race, color, or creed. And I'm talking to both sides of this equation, not just one, both sides. We're not going to get anywhere by tearing each other apart. And there are people out there that want to see this because they're laughing. And I want to see those people tear each other apart, not us. We're the ones working. We're the ones suffering. They're not. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that. That's just
keep ourselves united and connected and have a good spirit and positive.
Yes.
And tell us about examples of your clients, how they make a positive impact in their life with personal training.
Like I said, the one girl, she dropped 100 pounds in a year. There was one guy that I had, the doctors wanted to do surgery on his back because he had some weird issue in his lower back. I'll just call it the lower back because if I go like T12L1, I might lose some people. So T12, so his lower back, he was for most of his life, it was bothering him. So we did a little bit of adjustments, not like chiropractic adjustments, just muscle assessments and muscle strengthening. And within 3 weeks, he was doing full squats.
Wow.
Where 3 weeks before that, or 3 months before that, he wasn't able to do. He was using the table to sit down and using the table to stand up again. Then I had him doing full squats with weight on his shoulders, and his doctors are like, they couldn't understand. I'm like, well, they're looking at the wrong place. I've had so many over the past years. One guy, he really wanted to gain muscle, and he couldn't because he started. Every time he gained muscle, he gained fat with it. So we did a little bit tweak here, a little bit tweak there, and 3 months later, 6 months later? Yeah, 6 months later, he finally had his six pack. I'm like, congrats! Wow. Where are you going to go from here? I had another guy when I first started. Actually, he was skinny guy, busy. He was a pilot. He was a full-time pilot for a major American airline, and He's like, I never been big. I always wanted muscle. I don't know how to get it. And in a year, he went from doing dumbbell presses from 25 pounds, and he ended off the final year with doing like 65-pound dumbbell presses. So, and he was just, wow, I never thought I would get there. I'm like, well, you have the ability, not the sight.
Yes.
And that's the most thing that I see with most clients. They have the ability, not the sight. And that's what most trainers see in their clients too.
What is the legacy that you want to leave in the world? What impact do you want to make?
I want people to understand that we're all the same, regardless of where we live or what we believe. We're like, was it Lance Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin? One of those two guys, they said when they were up in space, they didn't see any lines. Like, they didn't see any borders. They just saw one planet. And I think that's what a lot of the religions out there are trying to say, but people with religion is actually really funny because it comes down to like even people within martial arts. In martial arts, it's my martial art is better than your martial art. My sensei is better than your sensei. We have a tendency of following people. This is wrong. We should never follow people. We should follow only the guy up there. Because he up there, I'm sorry, I'm going into a little bit religious stuff because it's he up there only said one thing: love one another as I have loved you. And we missed that. We missed the mark on that. So, I mean, even if, anyways, I'm not going to get into religion because I'm not a priest or a monk. So maybe we should start listening to each other. Maybe the legacy that I want to leave, I guess, is just that. Just maybe we should start, loving one another as you would love, your mother or your father or your sister or your brother or your cousin or your friend. We should all treat each other as friends because that's what we are. We're all friends.
Tell us about your business, BioFitness, and who is it for?
BioFitness originally started in 2010. I originally started it to, just be a personal trainer outside the gym. I didn't have a real vision of it, but lately I've really been focusing on, trying to introduce how exercise and wellness actually impacts the mental state, and especially people who have been suffering from depression, and helping them get out of depression, because it really is a really big trigger and really big factor in, trying to get people out of depression. Like, if you can just get them to the gym, get them to work out, they'll start to see the changes. People outside them will start to see the changes and make comments, positive comments, and that will actually help them. So yeah, that's it.
And what kind of topics do you talk about in your podcast, The Fitness Oracle?
We talk about exercise. We talk about basically my 4 pillars: health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality. So, and how they can have a positive impact in somebody's life. So yeah, that's based that's it. Like, it's like how martial arts has a positive impact how martial arts can have a positive impact in someone's life, how exercise can have a positive impact in someone's life. So just topics like that. Like last week, I had a guy who I had on. He was 450 pounds, and he dropped 235 pounds and he finished 2 Ironman competitions.
Wow.
Had another guy who almost committed suicide twice. His brother committed suicide, and he found his mental state, and he's thriving right now. He's very happy through yoga and meditation, and how digestion actually helps the mental state. So this week I have a martial artist coming on. We're going to be talking about calisthenics. And how that has a positive influence, and how to lead a minimalist life. And so I try to get mostly like health professionals, martial arts instructors, and personal trainers on, so they can share their stories, because they're interesting to me. And I know they have a reach where they can help other people as well.
Yes, sure. They can help. I was listening to your podcast yesterday, some of their episodes, and they're very good, very interesting conversations. Thanks. You're a very good podcaster.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, John. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'm very grateful for your time, especially because today is your birthday.
Well, thank you. It was an honor to be on your show.
And have a great day and enjoy your birthday, all the celebrations. And for you guys, you can follow John Katsavos in social media. Check out his website, BioFitness, and listen to his podcast, The Fitness Oracle, where you will find inspiring conversations that will help you make positive changes in your life. Enjoy the rest of the day.